This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Netflix. Today on the Destructoid Show, Kid Icarus appears to have stolen part of Tara's heart, as young boys are known to do. Resident Evil 6 is real and has a release date, and I get to talk about Pokemon because it's Friday! All that and more is headed your way right now on Destructoid Live.
Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Friday live show, Max.
Happy Friday, Tara.
I liked that thing you said in the intro about me liking young boys.
I didn't write that. That was Zach. He wrote that. I didn't write that. Do you like boys?
Yeah, well, you know, just
Little
the young
tiny
ones.
boys? Little ones?
So, lots of exciting things today. Later in the show, I'm going to talk about Kid Icarus Uprising, which is a game that I saw earlier this week, and we've got lots of exciting things to talk about. Other than that, Resident Evil, obviously. But first things first, huge congratulations are in order for the internet today. As you guys may have heard, SOPA, the Stop Online Piracy Act, has been officially withdrawn and sent back for a redraft. Applause, please.
Yes.
This is terrific news, obviously, for everyone. But let's face it, the internet freedom debate is far from over. That is another story for another day, though. Today, I want to talk about an even bigger threat to our personal freedoms, and that threat, my friends, is tiny hamburgers. Allow me to clarify, please, Max, because I can see you rolling your eyes already. I went to a Capcom Fright Club event here in the city last night, which is basically an event where a bunch of journalists get together and Capcom throws free food and drinks at them, and then you get to play games early, and it's basically the best thing ever.
You never go to events. Is this like your first event?
No, this is what all events are like, really. But
how would you
for
know?
the
You never go to
purposes of my
events.
story,
I go to events.
just bear with me. Okay. So they've got these waiters that come around, like carrying trays of food with, I swear to God, the tiniest food ever. Like, can we just show this picture? There, that's my
Dear
thumb.
God, an hors d'oeuvre.
That is not a dog treat or a tiny plastic doll hamburger. That is an actual hamburger intended for human consumption. It's outrageous.
Girl, you need to get your nails did.
My nails are fine. Okay, here I got one. Do you know what a quichette is, Max? Because I do. It's an ancient made-up word meaning waffle square filled with teaspoon of egg. That is a singular waffle square. Okay. I know what you guys are thinking. Before you say anything, I understand that this food is all free and that I'm a very lucky person with a lucky job who gets to do awesome things, and I'm certainly not complaining, and I am very grateful. But the point I'm trying to make here is, when will the madness stop?
You see?
I don't care. I'm ignoring the gong.
You've pissed off Shao Kahn, and now he's going to send fucking
miniaturizing
Scorpion
hamburgers.
and Sub-Zero
What's
down here
next,
to get
Max?
throw.
What's next?
Yeah, see?
Okay, stop with the incessant gonging, people.
Thank you for fucking. Okay, no, seriously, stop.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Okay, enough about queefettes.
Stop telling
things
people
to talk about.
things that make us want to do our job. The tiny food was an industry secret.
Are you afraid of a little competition, Max?
Yes, horrified of it.
Well, in that case, never mind. This job sucks. Anyway, I've got some details, and I know you guys want to hear them. The exclusive details for Resident Evil 6, yeah? I don't have those, I'm sorry. But I did come across some other information on the internet that might be of interest to you. Details we know right now are that the game takes place in both China and America, 10 years after the events of Operation Raccoon City. It'll feature 4 main characters, 2 of whom are obviously Chris and Leon, as you saw in the trailer, as well as a 3rd new character that we know nothing about yet. And finally, a security worker named Helena Harper, who, spoiler alert, may or may not have been involved in the zombie outbreak from the very beginning. We really don't know yet. She might be trifling. There's no way of knowing.
Trifling.
We do know, however, that gross, snarling, disgusting beast thing, yeah, that's him. From the trailer, his name is Javo, I think, or Yavo, depending on what region you're from.
Run, it's Yavo!
And according to Capcom, his role actually has an even bigger impact on the world than the zombie outbreak.
Resident Yavo!
It'll be interesting to see where Capcom takes that. They've given us a release date of November 20th, but expect us to get some hands-on time at E3 for sure, and definitely at PAX as well. If you haven't seen it already, go watch the video that I did with Anthony Carboni yesterday. We put up some of our impressions right after the trailer broke, and so watch it and let us know in the chat what you think of the new trailer. What were your thoughts, Max? Any thoughts?
I didn't actually watch it yet.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, you were off doing your thing with Carboni, and I was just...
Oh, that's right. You were doing some Saints Row stuff, right?
I was doing some Saints Row stuff. I got a Saints Row video in the works for you.
All right, well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
In our last piece of Resident Evil news, a demo for Revelations has been released on the 3DS eShop. I actually haven't had a chance to play it myself because I was writing this show all day, but I'm going to do it right after the show ends, so if you've played it already, let me know what you think in the chat. Go type words to Max. Can I take that over for
I'm swearing at them.
Just a sex?
We had one comment. Someone asked me why my Twitter picture is Miley Cyrus. That was how I was protesting SOPA, because that's a copyrighted image, A, and B, it's a party in the USA.
Wow. You were like a modern day
I've gotten like 200
Julian
new followers
Assange.
just because I have a picture of Miley Cyrus on there. Okay, anyway, back to video games. One game I don't think we've ever actually discussed on this show is Darksiders 2, but that changes right now because we have a new trailer from the guys over at Vigil. The first game, players controlled War, the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, not the concept. In Darksiders 2, Vigil decided to shake things up and make Death the main character. Again, Death, the Horseman, not the concept. In this latest video, the developers detail the differences between the characters in terms of gameplay. Apparently, Death has much faster traversal, which last I checked was just a really fancy technical term for movement, so that's cool. He can move more quickly. His main weapon is a scythe, but it is apparently very versatile, and it is a Swiss Army scythe, as one of the devs puts it. Of course, he can also get other weapons like claws, big iron fists, and smaller weapons like guns, even, which can be dual wielded, I guess. Big heavy weapons can be held two-handed for hitting stuff, and yeah, all in all, this looks pretty cool. The video also addresses the world of Darksiders 2, which apparently is much bigger and much more fleshed out than in the first game, which is very good. Honestly, this video is pretty standard developer hype. It's a bunch of guys who worked on the game saying what the game has in it compared to the previous game, and I think people are looking forward to this game, so that is probably a good thing. Personally, Darksiders is totally foreign to me. I missed the first one, and the majority of my exposure to Darksiders has been from Destructoid community member Occam's Electric Toothbrush. I'm pals with him on Twitter, where he goes by T-Ball Bat, and generally he says really weird shit, and sometimes that weird shit is followed by the hashtag Darksiders2, which usually makes me giggle. For example, there's this is a tweet of his, there's an eco-friendly section of the campus bookstore, Darksiders2. Or that guy who wears a knit cap Link style on the back half of his head indoors, Darksiders2. Or my recent favorite, a diaper full of hamburger helper, Darksiders2. And I didn't really get the joke at first, but after getting a look at Darksiders, I think I get it. That it's some weird shit. Some of it's sort of vaguely bizarre, and some of it genuinely makes me uncomfortable, just like Darksiders 2, or at least that's the sense I made of the joke. I might be completely missing the point here. The thing is, I think it's sort of silly when developers make these very reserved, dignified videos discussing the design choices and game mechanics they made. I mean, they use the word traversal. You're playing as a friggin' Horseman of the Apocalypse, and you're fucking up skeletons with a giant scythe. Like, sound more excited. I don't know, the big words, make it like a Micro Machines commercial, like shout at my face. Anyway, Darksiders 2, you guys at home on the chat, tell us right now, Darksiders 2, do you want to hear more? Yes, no? What do you think? What we are here to talk about your interests.
Chunky Milk thinks, and has been spamming the chat, that he thinks New Challengers is way better than this show. I bet
that's fucking Anthony in the other room.
I actually
probably
I kind of agree with him. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Onyx.
Are you kidding me? Look at the production values. I drew a frog. Yeah.
Onyx 581 says, "Hey Max and Tara, it's my first live show. Give me a shout out. Hi. Hey, thanks for watching.
Tell your friends.
You're awesome." I'm going to get on with some news. Not that any of you should be surprised, but Diablo 3 is definitely not coming out on February 1st. Jay Wilson, the game's director, put a post up on Blizzard's blog yesterday about how they're still making changes to the game, saying, quote, "No one will remember if the game is late, only if it's great. We trust in our ability to put out a great game, but we're not quite there yet. In addition to finishing and polishing the content of the game, we're continuing to iterate on some of the core game systems." So changes they've made so far include getting rid of scrolls of identification, so now your character can actually just identify any item by right-clicking on it, which is kind of cool. They've completely removed the Mystic Artisan after admitting that she's really just the socket and gem system with a different name. So she's gone now. They've made the 5th quick slot button a dedicated potion button for people who are too stupid to put it there themselves, I guess. And they are renaming the Stone of Recall to the much more logical Town Portal. but it still won't require a scroll. Now, here's where things get kinda eh. The Diablo 3 beta had these two really amazing features called the Cauldron of Jordan and the Nephilim Cube, which you carry in your inventory, and they let you break down your items or sell them for gold from anywhere. You don't have to go back in town to sell shit. When I first saw that in the beta, that shit like blew my mind. I was like, this is fucking awesome, because I'm the type of person who likes to pick everything up as it drops and then decide later what I want to sell and keep.
It's in real life, like in real life too. You're always picking up bark chips and pieces of gum on the
totally.
street.
Like, you never know when you're going to
gross.
use that shit or who will buy it. Well, wouldn't you know, they've totally gotten rid of that feature and decided instead that they want people to have to go back into town in order to salvage weapons. So you have to go see the blacksmith artisan now to do that, and also you won't be able to salvage white items anymore. Kind of a bummer. Blizzard's also making some key changes to the player stats, which I won't get into here because it's super complicated and boring, but the last and most awesome change, I think personally, is the new inventory UI that shows all of your character stats on one screen. So you can equip different items and see how it affects your overall stats. Very cool. Those are the basic changes you can expect to see when Diablo finally comes out, which we still have no idea when that'll be, but if you want more details, you should check out battle.net. And if you are upset about any of these changes, leave your hatred in the chat, please.
Yes.
So that I may read it.
Speaking of the chat, we have a few things. Mogel's channel says they should make a Kinect game called Max Bitches. Yeah, they should. That would be awesome. You just shout at your TV. It would be like Guitar Hero, but with swear words. They'd be coming at the screen, and you have to shout them as they came towards you. Your neighbors would think you have really
like
bad
a Tourette's
Tourette's
game or something, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Punisher898 says, oh yes, please, I really miss Limp Bizkit, and Darksiders 2 is the perfect replacement.
I miss Limp Bizkit too, you guys.
They had an album, just came out, Gold Cobra. Pretty good.
No,
Darksiders
they
felt very
didn't.
linear to me. I'd prefer a sequel to Brutal Legend. That's Chris Penn. Yeah, they're making a sequel to Brutal Legend. It's called Command and Conquer 2, Generals or something.
Talk about weird Japanese
RTS
stuff
joke.
next.
I don't know. Okay, time for weird things. A while back, we got to look at the upcoming Nintendo DS game, Nobunaga's Ambition plus Pokemon, and today we get to look at it some more. This new trailer popped up online and gives a closer look at exactly how bizarre and Japanese the game is. Now, before you say that I'm being closed-minded and not taking into account cultural differences, I'd like you to realize that this is a strategy game about real-life feudal Japanese warlord Oda Nobunaga, except they're doing that, but then they're adding Pokemon to that. So that's like if Sid Meier decided to release a Civilization game that somehow involved Beanie Babies. It's a fucking weird idea no matter how you look at it. Like, Pokemon, not real. Pokemon in feudal Japan, also not real. Still weird. So there's still no word on whether or not this will be localized for a Western release, but it is slated for a March 17th release in Japan. And there seems to be surprisingly positive reaction to this title. I don't know. Do you guys want this game? I think it looks sort of cute, but in a very strange, I would play it for 10 minutes sort of way. I mean, personally, I can think of a million other franchises I would rather see crossed with Pokemon than like a stuffy old strategy game. I'll tell you what, you guys watching us live, I want you to think up some wacky Pokemon crossover games and write them in the chat, and I will read some of them out loud. And if you're watching the recording of today's show, leave some ideas in the comments, and maybe I'll Photoshop a few of them for next week, because I like Photoshopping Pokemon.
Who doesn't?
Why do you have a sword?
You know, except me. Oh, BombBomb218 asked, is that a sword behind Tara? If so, can we see it? So I thought I'd take it out. And
yeah, that's my sword.
yeah, you probably shouldn't trust me wielding this giant sword.
That was given to me
near
by
you.
my estranged
Maybe
Native
you
American
should put
half
that
brother,
away.
Niaga. I'm not making that shit up. He gave me a sword. My brother has literally given me nothing but bladed weapons. He gave me the knife that I carry around. Yeah, so a lot of stabbing in my family.
Dark Reaper 01 asks, Max, will you do the review for Ni no Kuni?
No.
Well,
totally
maybe we
underqualified.
can review it on our show.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to talk about it, but as far as doing a formal review for it, I'm not up for that, because I'd be like, this is the best JRPG of all time, and people would be like, you don't play JRPGs. And I'd be like, that is an astute observation, and then I'd get in my hot air balloon and float away into my imagination. Why don't we,
Yeah, that's the perfect time, I think,
let's
to
take a word
thank
from
our
our sponsor.
Netflix is hands down the best way to stream your favorite TV episodes and movies all the way from outer space directly into your living room. With Instant Watch, you can watch your unlimited amounts of your favorite shows and movies streaming directly to your PC, Mac, or right to your TV with your PS3, Xbox 360, or Nintendo Wii console. For a limited time, Netflix is offering all Destructoid viewers their own free trial membership. Just go to netflix.com/Destructoid and sign up. And be sure to use that URL so they know that we sent you, because otherwise we won't know, and then we'll hate you.
And that's now available in the UK, is that correct?
Yes, it is available
That's pretty
in the
rad,
UK.
and that's going to be coming to the PlayStation Vita as well. Yeah.
Like, it's going to be like on every single device. Pretty soon your toilet will just have
I'm excited.
Netflix built
That would
in.
be awesome. I would be stoked about that.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I will probably be watching Netflix on my Vita when I get one while I'm pooping.
So let's answer a couple questions here. Nicole Pran says, can you show the penetrator from Saints Row the Third? Oh, you mean that thing. I had almost forgotten the formal name for it. This is just like our set dick now.
Yeah,
that's just what we call it.
Prop dick.
Set dick. I'm not gonna hold it like that, just, you know, in case somebody
You gotta
feels
support the balls,
like
really.
they're making creative GIFs later. I'm not gonna do that. I know your game, YouTube.
What else we got? Any other questions? Anything exciting we should know about?
Let's see. Is there anything exciting in here? Pokemon Mortal Kombat.
I would like that.
Pokemon Dead Space Strategic Dismemberment. It's going so fast here. You read some of these.
Okay,
I'm
check that
gonna
out.
talk about Kid Icarus for a second, which I got a chance to play for 2 whole hours this Tuesday. Super exciting. That's actually kind of long for a demo. Usually they're not that long. But after playing it, I realized the reason they made it that long is because there's no way you could get the full experience of the game in less than 2 hours. Now, this is an interesting one for many reasons, but particularly because apart from a small role in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, this is really the first video game Kid Icarus has been in over 20 years now. As far as story goes, Uprising picks up where the first game left off, so Medusa's come back from the dead. You killed her at the end of Kid Icarus. She's come back from the dead now, and like any good villain, she just wants to destroy mankind, and it's Pit's job to stop her. She's kind of the main enemy of the story, but later on you also fight against Dark Pit, who is an evil clone of yourself, which seems to be a popular theme in video games these days. The whole story is pretty thinly veiled and not really crucial to your understanding of the game, which is fine because compared to the gameplay and graphics, it's really the least interesting part anyway. So let's start with the basics. This game uses a really interesting control scheme that you might have experienced with some other DS games before. I think Metroid Prime Hunters had something similar. Basically, you use the circle pad to move, you flick it left to right to dodge an attack, then you attack with your left shoulder button, but you aim with the stylus. So you hardly ever actually use the buttons on the 3DS. You mostly use the stylus, and if you want to like turn around quickly, you just flick it. It's really kind of awkward at first, and the game comes with like its own 3DS stand, just like for that reason. But I found the stand completely useless, just because I like holding stuff in my lap. So it's fine anyway, because it takes like maybe an hour to get past that initial learning curve, and when you get past it, that's really when the game starts getting a lot of fun. So I played through 6 chapters while I was there. They haven't actually said how many there are total, so I have no frame of reference, but they're all split up between land and air levels. And the air levels in particular are hands down the most impressive part of the game, because it's not just like you're free falling and attacking guys as you're falling down. It's like you're flying through like different lands over like far off islands. There's a part where you like go out, like you get projected out of the atmosphere into space, like all these crazy 3D environments, and it looks gorgeous in 3D. Like you have to play the whole game with 3D on. It's simply not an option. And also, it's like I said, it's got land combat, which kind of pales in comparison to the air combat, but it's still pretty fun. And part of the reason for that is because it's got a really extensive weapon system. So you've got like 9 different categories of weapons. You've got range stuff like a combat, cannon. Or you've also got orbitars, which are things that shoot out of your shoulders. You've also got your own, set of melee weapons. Yeah, basically.
Orbitars!
You've got a whole bunch of weapons to choose from, and even within those categories, there's like different subcategories. You buy them with currency, which are hearts that you get from killing enemies in the game. And in addition to the weapons, you also find special powers hidden throughout the levels that grant you specific abilities, like health recovery, which you can use, and it has like a short, recharge time, and it'll give you extra health or something. They kind of add an interesting element to the game because when you go up to a higher intensity being difficulty, your whole ability to stay alive depends largely on what weapons and powers you choose to use. So it becomes like a very tactical game. I personally wasn't really familiar with the original Kid Icarus.
That's because it came out when you were 2.
Yeah, I was like practically in utero when it came out, so I went in not really knowing what to expect from this one, and I came away incredibly impressed with everything I saw. I would say it's easily one of the more in-depth games for the 3DS. You know, I would go so far as to say it's like a console quality game on a handheld device, and it offers a ton of replay value. So I'm really hoping that Nintendo can get their act together and kind of, you know, put a lot of good marketing behind this before it comes out on March 23rd.
This was also one of the games that got shown off.
Yeah, it was one of the first
pre-launch
3DS games that got shown off back at E3 2010. So it's been in development for a while
It's
now.
a launch title.
And I think a lot's changed since back then. There's plenty more I could say about it, obviously. There's so much I didn't get to talk about, and some of it I can't because it's embargoed. But I recommend you check out some info on it. Maybe look up some videos on YouTube.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, they haven't released a whole lot of gameplay footage. It's mostly like cinematic trailers. But still, worth checking out.
We got a couple comments, a couple questions. CKO Anime said, did you guys see the My Little Pony mod on Skyrim? Did you actually see that? I saw that mentioned on Twitter, but I didn't actually check it out yet.
Nude mods or get the fuck out.
Yeah. Are the ponies naked?
Yeah.
We had a couple Pokemon crossover ideas. Deus Poke, Pokemon Revolution. I didn't ask to catch them all. This is Brown Eye winking one. I like that idea. Then there's 594, Pokemon plus Spice World. Spice World, not a video game. Movie about the Spice Girls. Good enough. I like the idea.
I'm actually surprised they didn't make a Spice World movie, now that you mention it.
Video game?
Or a video game, I mean.
Yeah, that was before girls knew about video games, though. That came out like 97.
May I remind you of something? This
I wonder why
clueless CD-ROM.
Yeah. Hi, we're the
software
clueless
for girls.
We're the clueless developers. We're gonna make a game based on an Alicia Silverstone movie. That came out like 2 years after the movie did. That was poorly timed.
Make fun all you want. 1997.
Yeah.
I was right. I'm just gonna toss that on the floor.
Here's one. Naveen for the win said Jigglypuff's Dildo Adventures. I don't know how. That's not really a crossover. The idea was combining two existing games, but I like the way you're thinking there. Good stuff.
You're on the right track. Anything else?
Onyx581 says, what kind of licks you sipping on in that Boba Fett cup? Not beer.
Definitely
not beer.
Beer.
God, no, not beer.
That
of course
would be
not.
incredibly
It'd be
unprofessional.
terrible. Why don't you jump in the chat for a little bit? I'm going to say some things at the world. While Tara was off playing her dumb game about flying stupid baby children, whatever the stupid thing it is, I was playing some awesome, cool games. Anthony Carboni from New Challenger, the Superior Show, and I went and checked out Syndicate, which is pretty badass. And I just found out this afternoon that the demo is going to be coming out on the 31st, which is that's close to now, the 31st of this month. So we can all go play that together on the internet, I guess. I also did a little playthrough of the Kingdoms of Amal: The Reckoning demo. So if you missed these videos somehow, you should go check them out. They are on our channel and they are resplendent. What are they saying at you?
Apparently there was a Spice World video game on PlayStation.
No, there wasn't.
Which explains why no one has ever heard of it.
No, there wasn't. There was not a Spice World game.
Tara, shoot Max with the Nerf gun. I'm not going to do that. Violence is not the answer.
I don't know where the darts are because I shot them all at Tara and they went under stuff.
Let's see.
You guys like my frog?
Just monitor.
Okay.
Just monitor. Anything good there?
It's the gong.
It's the gong.
I guess we have to go now.
You know what that means? It means it's wrap up time.
That's the music. Thank you guys for watching. We do this every week. This thing we're doing right now.
Every Friday.
Yep. It's rainy out. That's why we're so depressed, and the frog is depressing too. But we do this every week at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, right here on YouTube.com/DTOID, also on Revision3.com/watch. And if any of our viewers happen to be in Northern California, specifically the Bay Area, we're going to be doing a live show on Friday, February 3rd in San Francisco.
I'm so nervous.
Oh, that's going to be so crazy awesome. We're going to have a lot of beer there, I think, maybe.
Definitely.
But we're going to have more details on that next week. And if you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, you should follow the show on Twitter. We are at DTOID Show. That's a thing that happens, and that's a picture of a robot in front of a plate of brownies, which is, for some reason, our avatar.
Amazing.
If you want to get it with us on a more personal level, I'm at Max Scoville. And she is at Tara Longest, and I like swearing about anime, and she likes taking pictures of tiny food or hip hop or some shit like that. I don't really know.
I love all of it.
I love tiny hamburgers and hip hop music.
I don't love tiny hamburgers.
All right.
Fuck that shit.
Okay, well, it's time for naps.
There's a
because she's
teaspoon
getting
of
all
meat in
cranky. Yeah, teaspoon of meat. Okay, that's the forthcoming album from Tara Long about her anger from
Thanks for watching, guys, and
We'll see you guys
thanks for
next week.
listening to my rant about tiny hamburgers.
That'll do.
Yeah.
All right.